Everyone, this is Greg from Greg's Whiskey Guide over in Paris, France, bringing you as usual whiskey reviews or in more or less in-depth overview about distillery, region or country of production. And this time we're staying in Lowlands, in Scotland, staying in Lowlands, and even in the Kingdom of Fife, as last week, where we spoke about, I spoke about Lindor's Abbey Distillery. This is not very far from it. This is Kingsbarns, another craft, farm to glass even, distillery with the dream to dram expression. And after that, the Balcomie at 46%. There's now one at cask strength. I haven't tried yet, by the way, and they also recently brought up last year, some single cask strength. I tried one which was nice, Whiskey Life Paris, where I tried this and got convinced I had to buy me one. Right. Now, before I introduce you to this special case, because it's an independent bottler family who runs this distillery, let me just give you a quick, I hope not too long, overview about the region, which is not as well known, Lowlands, as Speyside, Highlands, Campbelltown, which is top trend, and with Islay at the moment, because of exceptional quality distilleries. But sometimes people tend to overlook lowland distilleries, and I would like to correct a bit that, because I think this is a beautiful region with some great distilleries. Now, I know my camera is not the best, but if you want to know to give limits to the area, so you see golf everywhere, Glasgow, Edinburgh, and now the borders. So all this with the Fife is lowlands. So a region which has a lot of railways and roads and stuff. You can sit maybe closer here, on green on the bottom. And what can I say else about it? It's a distillery. It's an area which is most known for its grain whiskies. Most known, no, because it's always the undercover thing of blended whiskies. And you know that around 90% of what is sold, regardless to Scotch whisky, is still in 2023 grain. Blended whiskey with grain whiskey. And grain whiskey is produced mainly in Lowlands region, a bit also elsewhere in Highlands. And for instance, I have two here I will have to cover and review at some point. I have a Cameron Bridge Diageo-owned whiskey, which is the Cameron Brig, which is 7 or 8 years old, for instance. To show you, but also Lowlands has some beautiful closed distilleries, such as this one. This is an indie bottling of Dumbarton, this is a nice 32 years old. So young grain is often a bit harsh, not often very subtle, but when it's well done, it can shine, and mostly when it's old and aged in beautiful cask, it can really give great stuff. I wanted to show you what I have about lowland distilleries. I have two other closed distilleries. This is perfect dram. This is an independent bottling of Little Mill, 22 years old. I will have to cover at some point. Yes, it's sherried. And I have another official Little Mill, by the way, closed distillery, and also Rosebank. Of course, I have two left. This is a Gordon MacPhail release, beautiful. Among lowlands also, when I started my whiskey journey 25 years ago or so, there were only a handful three distilleries left, I mean open, active, malt distilleries this time. Yes, those three examples, two lasts, a Little Mill and Rosebank, mind you, were malt distilleries. Now we're going only into malt distilleries. So when I started my whiskey journey, there were only 3 or 4 active distilleries left. Of course, Ochentoshen, and this is an old release, cask strength, the Valinch 2011. There was Bladnoch that was closed, but there was soon to be reopened, and there was the this is the 10 years old, quite heavy bottle. The Glenkinchie, of course, I still recommend to people beginning their whiskey journey. It's quite easy drinking one, and it will not harm anyone. There you have it. Also, the important things to say about Lowlands Distillery is that mainly they do triple distillation. So for me it's the hyphen, I hope it's a good pronunciation of that word I didn't know, trait d'union in French, the hyphen between, for me, Irish distilleries, triple distilled ones at least, and Scottish distilleries. So that you see the connection. And I also believe that, in my opinion, I might be wrong, the passing of the art of distillation, most probably around 15th, 16th to 18th century, most probably went from Ireland to Scotland through those regions, Campbelltown and Lowlands. I might be wrong, but it's what I understand, or my guess, let's say. Now I'm going to introduce you to the Kingsbarns Distillery, but before that I have to, and I'm happy I got this little leaflet book at Whisky Life Paris, which because the WEMYSS MALTS, which is the name of the independent bottler brand, has been extended now to WEMYSS Family Spirit. You can still see on the bottles, of course, WEMYSS Malt. Because they also do some gin. I think we have some bottles there. They also do different gins, mind you. I haven't tried the gin yet, I have to say. And of course they have been, by the way, last year completely rebranding their blended malts. Here are 3 of them. With some themes. I used to have the Peach Chimney, but I don't have it left. I tried the Hive that I liked. You can see some of my notes about Whisky Life Paris once again in Instagram. So yeah, basically, I don't have the. Do I have the date about the starting of the company? I didn't have the time to double check, to be honest. In the bottling part, I'm sorry, but I know it dates over 10 years or more. And what can I say else? Yeah, so it's a family, and I had the chance, where is he, to meet Whisky Life Paris 2 people, William Wemyss, who runs the company, and quite young, but he had the Heriot Watt diploma of brewing and distilling, Peter Holroyd, very cool, nice young guy, who is the master distiller. So I'm gonna speak to you about the distillery, and I'm happy to have a few pictures to show you there at the same time. So Kingsbarns Distillery is a new, if I may say, distillery established in 2014. This was thought over a lot of time ago, and I had the chance also, I have to salute him here, Douglas Clement, who was at the initiative, at one of the people at the origin of the distilleries, who I had the chance to meet in London in 2007, and he spoke to me about this project of new Scottish distilleries. So quite cool to see the people speaking about things that finally came into fruition some years after. Right, he's also now involved in golf, and of course I talked about that last week about Lindors. This is very close to St. Andrews Golf, and the people who were passionate about golf, it is said that they were complaining there were no distillery around 10 years ago in the area, around almost 80 kilometers around. So they wanted to have a distillery to visit and have a nice journey there. And so now they have 3 or 4, but the 2 closest, if I'm not mistaken, are now the Lindors and of course Kingsbarns. Right, Kingsbarns had the capacity of making 600 liters of whiskey, but they currently have on production rather 200,000, as I understand. They have a wash still of 7,500 liters. It's a long, slow and long distillation, 8 hours in the wash still. They have a spirit still of 4,000 or 1,500. Have to double check. Sorry, you don't want to mistake because it's not the same. It's easy. Of course, I use this at the same time, which is quite useful to check out the new distilleries. Yeah, 4,500 spirits still. I'm not going to tell you every detail, but was it an interesting and 2 points really to mention, I think, important. Aside from the slow fermentation, which goes from 72 to 120 hours, they have 2 sorts of different yeast they use at the same time. So this is very unique and very interesting. They also practice a shortcut, which is, as I understand, helps esters to come by more, and also provide a lightly and fruity profile to the whiskey, which I confirm. What else can I say? Yeah, you can see here one of the stills there, and the other, which is probably the one you see, is probably the spirit. I haven't visited yet the distillery, and the one hidden there, no, there must be the wash. What else can you see? Yeah, forgot to mention it's local barley as well they use, so that's very kind of cool, I think. Here you can see the countryside, and also the control of the mashing. You can see also Peter looking, taking care of the stills and checking out things. What else can I tell you there that is featured? Yeah, so there you have it, basically about the distillery. I think now it's time to go to the tasting. So, for the first bottle, just giving you a few details of those I could get. As much as I'm trying to go unbranded, it's always branded. I love the shape of the bottle, I have to say. Lots of bees around, so it's a kind of wink to the bees, if I remember well. Also, of course, the swallows there. So again, a connection to with Ireland in a way, you know, the swallows from Powers. So it says limited release, first fill bourbon and first fill S.T.R matured. Proportion, which is interesting, is 90% bourbon, first fill bourbon from Heaven Hill. I had that info. And so Heaven Hill is a Kentucky bourbon distillery, bourbon and also else, wheat and rye. And 10% S.T.R, shaved, toasted and recharred. I think I explained that the other time. Wine barriques from Portugal. What else do they say here? So nice box as well. aside from marketing speech. So yes, just some unhurried fermentation. Yeah, it's a bit like what Glengoyne says about slow distillation as well. Yeah, you can see different cask types. They are experimenting also other kinds. Haven't got to them yet, so lots of limited release and things that are I guess we're gonna see more special things in the future. Just to give you a perspective, this has been released in 2019. Also, I want to mention something that's important nowadays. I got this online through La Maison du Whisky for 58 euros, but I know you can touch it elsewhere in Europe way less than that, and in UK as well. It's not 58, it's 54, and 58 is for the Balcomie, because it's of sherry casks and 100% sherry, so it's a bit more expensive. As you know, sherry casks are around 5 to 10 times more expensive than bourbon casks. Now, of course, there's sherry and sherry, but it's another topic. So there you have it. So this, the UK stamp. Let me double check. No, the Balcomie, I have it through the online site of La Maison du Whisky, and the Dream to Dram, I had it in 2020 before they stopped shipping to France. Unfortunately, the Whiskey Exchange and Master of Malts stopped the shipping in France around that time, and I was lucky to have that. By the way, I think this is double distilled, not triple. Oh, I have a doubt now. Let me double check. Just 1 second. Strangely, it's not said. It's not precise that it's double distilled. It was so evident. I didn't even took care. Just see it there. So in my sheet. So yeah. Okay. Let's get to it now. I don't want this to be too long. But yeah, it's really a whiskey I enjoyed those last months, even if I don't get back to it as often I would like. The legs, they're quite sticking sometime. Forgot to say, it ticks all the boxes. Okay, it doesn't have age statement. I will come back to the question of age statement and wood tech, etc. in another video soon. But as many young distilleries, they cannot be 100% sure they're gonna provide you a 5 or 6 years old yet, so they prefer not to mention it in order maybe to combine some older cask with some younger ones. So this is said, if I'm not mistaken, to be between 3 and 4 years old, and it's one of the most precocious ready at 3 years old malt I have come across, so quite great. Nice sticking legs, not sure you see them. Quite time. This shows 46% ABV, but also the unchilled filtration, and I think this is it's not said there. This is non-chill filtered. It's not on the bottle, too bad, but non-chill filtered natural color. I knew it, but evidences has to be, I'm sorry, just a slight criticism. Such evidences of some call it integrity, I prefer call it natural coming across whiskey had to be put on the label somewhere. I really recommend that, because people need to have the most genuine product. At least us passionate amateurs, whiskey lovers. So quite clear color. It's like a straw, yellow. Let's get on the nose. Wow, I love this nose. This is at the same time typically Lowlands and typically new, great distilleries driven, but great yeast and great mash, great barley. So it's not super complex, but it's very inviting, vanilla driven, nice esters, but not overpowering. That's already one of the things I love the most about this is the custard special note, as in Cotswold, by the way, that comes across not every expression of Cotswold, but I mean the bourbon cask one. Yeah, I love this. Also a bit pastry note. Yeah, almondy, of course, almonds, lemons, light orange, like a bit sherbety orange, I wrote. Some dried herbs, sweet spices, the malted barley. Also a hint of pineapple and red fruit, but we'll see. Let's reset. Yeah, tiny red fruit on the background, but very melted, very well mixed together. So nice, subtle, very subtle note. That subtlety really speaks Lowlands for me as well. Yeah, some vanilla, powdered sugar. So it's also nicely floral. Though I couldn't really point which flowers, honestly. Yeah, let's get to the palate Slangeva. What I get on the nose, I get on the palate with a bit more character, a bit more herbal and spicy profile. But this is wrapped in a blanket of vanilla, custard, almonds, and a nice almost pastry combo, brioche, a bit cereally as well. So quite nice. Yeah, I got also a certain, not residual sugar, some kind of pastry sugar, but very still light. I love the fresh apples notes. Another sip and I will add some water. Yeah, that vanilla slash herbal slash floral slash hint of exotic fruit, mainly pineapple, and also those dried herbs and slight ginger, maybe a bit of white pepper as well. A lot of charm, I have to say, in that single malt. A lot of charm. And this has some notes in common as well with the Lindor's 1494 release, Orange. That gentle, if I may say, gentle worm and pastry hug from the Fife. Is it that? The characteristic? I don't know, but I love that. I've yet to try Eden Mill, that's also in the area. There's also other distilleries I forgot to point for you, but yeah, it's now where they were in Lowlands. There are now, I think, 7 grain distilleries and over 10 malt distilleries, if I'm not mistaken, where there was only 3 in the 20 years ago. More, of course, several centuries ago, but Yeah, lovely thing. More charm, floral charm on the nose with a few drops. You have to chew this a bit. Gets more balanced now with all the elements I spoke about before, in a gentle unison of flavors. Still some character, herbal and spice wise, otherwise it might come across flat. So this has some character. This is I wouldn't say an iron fist in a silk glove, but let's say a strong oak fist in a very gentle and silky vanilla custard, citrus fruit sherbet, and almonds and tiny red fruits glove. So great balance, and very nice for 3-4 years old. Very early quality there that can be seen, detected. So quite promising future, I think, for the Kingsbarns Distillery. This is everything. The packaging, the content is taken care of with really. This is really subtle, and I really love that. Let's take a bit of water and then go to the Balcomie. So yeah, very excited by what they do, and I think we're really gonna see some nice things from them in the future. Maybe I would like to see some other core range release, maybe peated or maybe with a finish, special finish. I don't know. Might have some ideas, but there's always the blender in me who thinks of what can we do with this distillate. So there you have the Balcomie one. This is young and this is not rushed, and I love that. This is not super dark. This is 100% Oloroso Sherry. This time doesn't say how much first fill and refill. What I love, it seems to have a half or a more of refill, or only second fill, will be my guess. And I love that because it doesn't overpower the spirit, the distillate. Well done, Peter. Oh yeah, so but you have some Oloroso on the nose, right? The same sensation legs-wise, viscosity-wise. So we'll say 3 out of 5, like the other one, for viscosity. Yeah, so you have, of course, the red fruit, but also some kind of sweet and sour sensation of the wine. It's not wine, come across winey, as I say. When people speak, I mean English-speaking YouTubers, more likely English, American, Irish, I would say rather Irish and English, Scottish, where viewers often speak about wine gum. Wine gum is something that doesn't exist here in France. I mean, usually. It's not something common to us. Jim from Whiskey Novice once sent me, because I complained, didn't know that, some wine gums, and I didn't like it at all. But I got what they mean by wine gum. So I wouldn't say it wine gum. You can feel there's some light and young sherry in it. It's not Methuselah 20, 30 years old sherry like you see in some Dalmores. Of course, it wouldn't be the same price either. With some nicely made sherry. It comes across a bit like the Aaron Bodega on the nose. Less punchy, of course. It's not cask strength. So dried fruit, some raisins, some undefined red fruit, which I will say half ripe. Sorry, half fresh. Maybe some cherries, maybe some let me double check in English. How do you say that? So I have a doubt. I would say blackberries, but I won't say that. In French it is mûr. Mûr en anglais. I always forgot. Mulberry. There's some kind of mulberry notes in there for me. So nice nose, a bit maybe quite less inviting than the Dream to Dram. Slightly nutty as well, but nice. Let's go on the palate. Yeah, it's interesting how there's a kind of sweet and sour side to it, but the pastry still manages to come across a bit. We have some slight hazelnut note on the background. I would say some maraschino cherries on the first ground, mixed a bit with still some vanilla. I'm searching for a note that will be more likely to be said in English. Yeah, there's some orange zest, but dropped into syrup. Same from the pineapple. Yeah, pineapple. Forgot to say that. Pineapple, and got to write it down. Sorry. Ananas et pêche au sirop. Oh, sirop. There you have it. Maybe some apricot as well. Yeah, it also has some sweet spices. Might come across to the main audience as a bit more austere than the other, but it's still sweet. It's still nicely made. Very nice balance. Yeah, I like the sweeter side of it now, with a few drops. There's almost some fudge now on the second ground coming in. Let's put a bit more, because I have to double check with the water. I didn't left too much. For a good proportion, good ratio. The cork, everything is nice here. I really love the care they put in the packaging. Also, it's I will come back to it in a more general topic, but it's also a distillery who did benefit from the advices of Dr. Jim Swan, a chemist and engineer who helped a lot of distilleries around the world. Yeah, so there's an oxidation quality to it, which is of course muted wine, fortified wine, as sherry brings some benefits from the oxidation. It's yeah, so there's a thing about some tinned fruit in syrup. I wouldn't compare this to any sherry monster at all. Maybe to some Youngland Ronachs, but I wouldn't go. It's much younger. I don't know. It would have some similarities. I should do face to face maybe with the Reserva and the Lucia from Glencadam. I still have to review. There's some connections there. Yeah, so fruit, a bit green as well. There's some vegetal elements, some leafy elements. But everything is melted well together, like the Dream to Dram. I think it's pretty solid and balanced whiskies. To conclude this, I will say this is a temporary note for the Balcomie, mind you, because I still have to get into it more. I don't know. I think I will slightly change that. So I'm still giving it an 88, but it's under reservation. But the Dream to Dram, I tried it enough to give you a definitive score, and I gave it an 81.5 out of 100. So quite a beautiful and very nice whiskey, and great value for such a young whiskey. There you have it. Hope it was interesting. See you not exactly next weekend, a bit few days maybe more, because I will be busy, but I'll try to drop some videos still. Have a nice end of weekend. This should be posted tomorrow. We're Saturday. You should see this on Sunday. Take care.